Welcome to our program. It's called We Connect. Dr. Sunil Shroff, he's the president of the Medical Computer Society of India. He's also the professor and head of the Department of Urology and Renal Transplantation at the Sri Ramachandra Medical College and Teaching Hospital. He's here to talk about many things, but one of the most important areas that he deals with is organ transplantation. Thank you so much, Dr. Shroff, for being here. Now, this Medical Computer Society of India seems like a big word. What does it mean?
Yes, it is. Actually, what is happening is that, patient care as we go along has become very expensive. And to look at ways of decreasing the cost, we are trying to integrate technology into medical science. Technology has come into various, aspects of life like travel and even now marriage and so on. But it's been very, medical community has not taken on to computers very easily. Even now, if you take a survey, about 5 years back, it was only 3 or 4% of the doctors who would use computers regularly. Now it's slowly increasing. The younger generation is taking onto it very much more easily. So what we did was about 15 years back, we wanted to start something, a platform where we could, as medical professionals, talk to the computer technocrats and tell them what exactly we required in our science, because the dynamics of healthcare is very complex. It's not a simple kind of straight science, because we have so many different areas of work. So we wanted to have a platform where we could integrate medical science with, computers.
Is it in fact possible to amalgamate the two?
To use it for the patient care, for the benefit of the patient care, if you can have a platform. What was happening previously was the technocrats, because doctors didn't understand computers.
Yes, absolutely.
The technocrats would write a program, and then they would show it to the doctors, and the doctors would use it. So what we wanted to do was, on this platform, we wanted the doctors to lead the way and tell the technocrats that this is what we require, and this is what the program should be like.
Right, but Dr. Shroff, does it make medical care for a person like myself cheaper?
It should. Eventually, that's the whole idea. That if we can integrate so that we could look at drug reactions, like if you are taking 3 or 4 drugs, some drugs could cross react, and it could give an alert on your cell phone that, look, doc, you've written this drug, and this drug should not kind of be combined with this drug. Simple things, So if we could look at various ways of how we could audit our results on what surgeries we do, various small aspects if you could look at where computers would be useful in patient care. The idea was to get these two, highly skilled professional forces on one platform, so that we could come out with a program which would be effective for patient care.
Right. I've heard it said that the little knowledge that patients like myself would gain from the internet is a bit of a pain to doctors like yourselves. Now, is this in fact true? I mean, does it bother you if I come to you as a patient and say, well, I read this on the internet, so why are you giving me this? Is that little knowledge a dangerous thing?
It is to some extent, because what happens is you really don't get the whole truth. And when you Google something, let's say,
Absolutely.
What happens, you get millions of searches, and not all searches are validated. And not all searches are necessarily searches which tell you the truth, because there is no way of categorizing the ones which have been validated, which have been peer reviewed, from the ones which have not been peer reviewed, where you actually get the truth. So sometimes you have to dig deep into the net to actually find the truth, and not necessarily everybody has time to do that. So, and that's the reason why what happened when we started this platform, we realized that what you're saying is, it was happening so often. We started an Indian health website called MedIndia.
MedIndia.
MedIndia. And MedIndia was started way back in '99, and today we have almost 500,000 pages on MedIndia of validated patient information, which is actually read by doctors, which is first before it is published, and then it is published, so that the information given to the patients is authentic, and it is to some extent Indian, not necessarily westernized.
Right. What is the actual web page?
It's called www.medindia.com or net.
Okay.
It's simple. Medical India is MedIndia, just shortened it to MedIndia, and it has done well because it is now among the top 10 health websites of the world, and it gets a huge number of hits. And funnily enough, all this an Indian health website, 70% of the hits come from US. Because there is so much of information available, and people like to go to websites now which they can trust. So this has, so over the years, people have realized the value of this. And so MedIndia has come out very well as we've gone along over the years. And today we have many pages, and it's an Indian health website with a lot of India focus.
Right. So when you talk about India focus, does it also list the kind of doctors that are available? Does it list something like that? Is it also a professional medical directory that a layperson can actually access?
Absolutely. We have 200,000 listings of doctors, hospitals.
Wow, that's an amazing
huge
number.
Huge
Around
number.
the country?
Around the country, only India. We don't give listing of other places.
Right.
That's very focused. We don't necessarily, the next step would be, to be able to, the idea is to network these doctors with patients eventually. When these doctors start using the computers, the problem, that's where the Medical Computer Society angle comes in. And we hold annual conferences, we publish papers. The idea being to get them driven towards computers, to show them how useful it could be for the patient care.
Right. What about the tried, the trusted, the old-fashioned family physician? How do physicians like that deal with this new technology? Do they in fact make use of it?
Yes, in fact we done a course, at least at Ramachandra, for Diploma in Family Health, and there we have a class on how to use computers for their practice, because they could use it for simple things, even for keeping accounts for that matter, to start off with that. And I take the lecture many times, and I tell them, look, the way to get started is go and sit down with your kids. They are very good with computers.
Aren't they just?
And once you watch them, tell them to, just show you how to switch on the machine and how to use the mouse and how to click this and how to click that.
The basic stuff.
The basic stuff. And once you got the hang of it, then you start using it. Otherwise, the very fear of switching on the machine, because many times, you have the machine lying, catching dust, they never switch it on. So I very often tell them, just, you give it to your kids initially, and from them you learn.
Right.
And then you get onto it.
Right. I'm going to draw you out in the fact that if, as my physician or my surgeon, you are making use of technology, does that sometimes perhaps take away from the personal relationship that you as a surgeon or as a physician have with me as a patient? Would you say that it detracts in some way?
It is very important to have that little care, but medicine is changing very rapidly. Today, technology is coming into medicine in a very big way. And there are places where we can't reach patients, where technology can do wonders. One-to-one care, I'm afraid, slowly may go away. I'm afraid, but it is probably going to be very hard to give away. But the way things are moving now, in many countries, it is becoming more and more technology-driven, because a lot of medicine is now evidence-based.
Evidence-based.
If you don't have evidence, you can't treat. And many patients, and doctors don't necessarily have that much of time to be able to give to patients. So the healthcare is shifting from doctor focus towards patient focus, where you take care of your health, in your own way. That is what is important.
Right.
So that things don't go wrong.
Right.
Even if you look at the investigations, even if you look at diagnosis, most of the times doctors will depend on a lot of diagnosis, they depend on technology.
Right. Dr. Shroff, I'm going to hold you here, and when I come back after a very short break, I'm going to talk to you and ask you what you think about the use of technology in rural healthcare and from the government point of view. Time for us to take a very short break, but you don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with you here on WeConnect.